Alright. Back to the grind. Hey, Maneha. Let's get you leveled up. All those athletics and the 7 survival. Which is kind of what originated my interest in getting that high in the first place, I think. Alright. Always kind of need to read the whole list from scratch again. It's just hard to remember which ones are new and which ones are old and which ones I was thinking of before and which new ones are promising new additions and all that. Causes the barbarian to lash out when in pain, granting a bonus to damage when they're at low health. Wild sprint, big move speed, threatening presence, people around me are sickened. Barbaric shout, AoE terrified, twice per rest. Bloodlust. Down 2 enemies get 20% attack speed for 9 seconds. That's not very... doesn't feel very long to be earned by the deaths of 2 creatures. Exacts a final revenge when barbarians reduced to 0 endurance, causing them to perform a carnage... instant carnage full attacks at everyone in range. A fun one. Just do a full attack with both weapons to every single enemy in every direction around you within 2 meters when you get downed is funny. Heart of Fury. Barbarian swings viciously in a lightning quick flurry, taking on all comers. Each equipped weapon attacks every nearby enemy, doing extra damage, inflicting carnage if applicable. What does carnage do again? Not listed here. Eye of the Storm. The barbarian cannot be engaged by enemies that are more than 1 level lower than him or her. Not prevent the barbarian from being attacked in melee. Dragon Leap. Drawing upon reserves of intense spiritual power, barbarians are able to leap high into the air and crash down upon their foes, dazing them. I've seen the enemies do that in Cragholt, specifically. Barbaric Retaliation. The barbarian reflexively lashes out at anyone who hits him or her in melee, doing raw damage to anyone unfortunate enough to be on the receiving end. This is a... wow. Wow. That's, there's been a few versions of Thorns in this game, but 10 to 15 raw damage every time somebody hits you? That's hard to argue with, that's pretty strong. Bloodthirst. After killing an enemy, barbarian's recovery is waived, allowing them to attack again immediately. I gotta go with retaliation, that seems wildly powerful. Hopefully I'm right. Time for these skills. I remember I always kind of leaned away from the idea of specializing in specific weapons because of the fact that you have to deal with all these different categories. Like, I think she's using a rapier and an axe. Is it a battle axe or a different type of axe? Or is it a hatchet? Either way, here's rapier. So, like, they're all in different categories. That's always the issue. Apprentice sneak attack, it doesn't necessarily hurt. She's good at inflicting those kinds of effects on people. I think I'm gonna go for mind control, though. I already have it, don't I? I think she already has Mental Fortress. Body control's good too, though. Maybe I'll get that too. He has a resistance against being mind controlled and a resistance against being body controlled. Those are both good. Crowd control is always a problem in these games. Zawa. Zawa Zawa. Mortification of the Soul. The monk immediately inflicts enough raw damage to gain a wound. Yeah, that one. I'm not crazy about that one. I already have the specialization in unarmed that was here. I think Mental Fortress makes a lot of sense. For a reason previously given. Just kind of become a thing that I try to focus on. To move speed passive. Reduced duration of hostile effects. But it's on per rest ability. Whenever a hostile effect expires, gain 10 fortitude, reflex, and will. Enervating blows. Melee crits cause the enemy to be weakened. Soul mirror. 50% chance to reflect ranged attacks. It's a really high chance. Rooting pain. Every wound I get does a shockwave on everybody that can interrupt. Flagellant's path. Streak towards people. +1 damage reduction per wound. Right, Zawa has a cool ability that I need to equip that somebody had. I think it was one. I think every wound gave him one more, like 1% melee damage or something like that, which can quickly be a lot. The Dichotomous Soul. 8 wounds. The monk meditates briefly on his or her pain, summoning 2 physical manifestations of suffering, one of flame, one of ice. Zawa duplicates. That's fun. More summons. Skyward Kick. Monk launches a target into the air, slamming them back down to the ground and leaving them prone. Then the Long Pain. Projected force from their weapons. I think I gotta go for the summon. That's pretty cool. Body control, I think, is next. Where do we have these? Yeah, 2% raw damage. So not only is it 2% more damage for every wound, which is double what I thought it was, it's raw damage, which is the one that I think tends to go past a lot of resistances, if I remember correctly. This one's just 10% melee damage. So this was a pretty good one. 10% melee damage is pretty good, but 2% raw damage per wound. Once I have 5 wounds, it's already matching this. But it's raw damage, which is better than normal melee damage, I think. The Morning Gloves is a fun idea, but is it better than 10% melee damage? I feel like this is just more consistently a good thing. Whereas these are just kind of a funny weapon with its myriad of buffs. But that's just a flat 10% melee damage all the time. Another melee damage increaser. Damage to flanked targets. I think I'll take that over that. Not sure though. I still wanted to go through all these, didn't I? And then they got lost on her as I went off somewhere else. Three Constitution on a necklace. I don't know, it's a lot of number crunching that's not always easy. So you're the one that just got the ability to mix you... 10 to 15 raw damage on anybody who hits you. Like I could stack that with retaliation. Hero's Mantle. Now it'll be in the ballpark of like 15 to 20 damage every time she gets hit or something. A lot of return fire. How does that work, I wonder? It grants you, my son, do you see your sister across the moor, which is a summon that summons will-o-wisps. But it doesn't say how often you get to use it. Is it per encounter? Per rest? Does it have charges? Do you have permanent access to that spell? Can you cast it every once per battle? I don't know, there's usually rules listed with those kinds of effects. And I think all my spellcasters are pretty stuck in their way at this point, though. I think. Alright, everyone's leveled up. It's always a ritual.
Yeah.
We're trying to find somebody's house that's near the road. That's a familiar jacket you got there. You are in fire chanting mode, just making sure. Last they shall not. Give Zawa wounds, he dares you. But he reached 33 damage for a bit there. Still 33. Okay. So the percent damage, the percent of raw damage added is not reflected in his numbers, I don't think. I don't think we get to see that. Nature's Bounty. That's the thing that Harabius can summon in everyone's inventory. These guys. These are the nasty little shits that are immune to like several elements. Mostly fire. Good reason not to be stacking Jaskier and Pallegina in this particular area. Although Jaskier is still using his fire stuff. Still pretty effective a lot of the time.
Don't think we'll find much. Taug's people picked the place clean.
There's gotta be something left under all this snow.
Oh yeah? You guys seem to have loudly announced yourselves. Do not recommend. Just as a general rule. How do you guys feel about Bouncy Ball of Fun? Whee! I like the part where half of you stop moving. Now lightning. I said lightning. Ooh. Yep. Hey, and there's the two clones. That's neat. So those are the duplicates we saw one of our enemies using at one point. That was a problem for me. Now we have the power. And they can't take it back. These glyphs seem similar to those seen in the battery, but they are too worn to make out. The upper edge of this engraved slab has been worn smooth by the hands of travelers eager for some good luck.
Right.
I'm gonna amass some of these strange items in Eloth's inventory and we'll review them when we have a chance. What seems like half a mountain's worth of snow has tumbled down across the trade road, blocking further passage. This pale, rough stone doesn't resemble any other formation in the area. What is that? Huh. Some kind of crystal vein. Growing outwardly. Curious about that. Oh, this might be the house. Oh, it looks pretty on fire if I was supposed to save them. Embers still smolder in these blackened ruins. Apart from a few flecks of soot, the supplies in this cart are untouched. Not feeling great about our chances of saving this family if this is their house. Maybe we ought to go in and see. Costa and Briss. Go on then. It's bad days coming, I'm telling you. The pair looks up at you as you approach. Who's the... Oh, begging your pardon, Lord. The villager shuffles to face you. What happened, dear? We noticed some of Hadi's goats wandering loose. When we came up here, we saw some suspicious people leaving Hadi's house. Looks like they torched the barn. Suspicious people? Not just looters, I mean. They were armored up like they were in for battle, and mean-looking. Aaron's got something to do with it, I just know it. Why are you just standing out here, then? We were worried there might be one of them still inside. We're goat herds, not warriors. I think I know what's going on. Can guess, I bet. We get a lot of bandits up here. It's just a shame it happened to Hadi. Still, don't think it's bandits. But hey, have a look and you'll know for certain. We found the location we're here for. Question is, are they already dead or not? They said they already saw people leave. That's not a good sign. I'm surprised they have this whole location dedicated to what's functionally just a task instead of a quest. Yeah, it's not good. Things have ended here, and not for the better. A bloody thumbprint marks where someone pulled away a piece of bread. Someone has torn away several pages, leaving bloody smears behind. The fire has died down to a handful of glowing embers. The dead man's sprawled position gives you a clear view of the sword wound in his back. The smeared, drying blood around him has not yet faded to brown. You hear a groan, low and pained, and turn your head to see. There's a dull pain in your skull and your vision swims. A harsh grip on your arm bears you upright on your knees. We don't have anything worth stealing. Elwina's voice cuts through your sluggish thoughts. You look up at the armored man seated at the table, your stomach knotting up with dread. No, you don't. He reaches almost idly for the ledger. You notice before he does the way that Elwina tenses up, but you're not sure why until he opens the book and the letter falls out. Family? The man smiles as he picks up the letter. No! Elwina tries to run forward only to be caught by the arm of the man behind her. Looks like Eska's doing well at the mill. Sweet of him to write. Deerford's a long way from here. Enough, Sevestin. All right. He tosses the letter on the table, cruel amusement swiftly replaced with irritation. Kill him. You barely have time to register the words. The sword through your back drives the air from your lungs and the strength from your limbs all at once. Elwina's scream seems so faint. You have to get to her. You have to warn Eska somehow, but your legs won't listen. You can't breathe. The memory slips from you like a shucked coat, and the pain in your back fades just as quickly. Wow. So not only did that guy end up calling out for the murder of these people, they're gonna go after extended family. They seem dedicated to this shit. Back in Deerford. Yes? What do you want? Body's dead. Knew it had to be bad. Thanks for letting us know, stranger. Bad times all around. What's this message for? Oh. Dude's gotta get paid. Whoa. Actually a lot of oozes. Phil, I imagine they're all... yeah. Probably very vulnerable to fire. So the pulses will not go well for them. There you go. Took me a little while to get used to the visual of the fact that it's represented as actual fire. I mean, as actual worms all flying around. It's just kind of amusing to me. Wirthoneg. 3 will, 15 defense against frightened and terrified. Redsurin Mead. Ray Ad Saron, I think is how they pronounce it sometimes. This crude arrangement of antlers, bones, and sticks exudes a strong fishy odor. Oh, this goes somewhere though. Let's loop back around. Fill this chunk in first. I kind of wonder if another objective might bring me back here. Ooh, it's these guys, the Lag of Faiths and all their stun darts. Oh boy, okay. Crowd control, please. No! They crowd controlled Eloth in that moment, and then Meneha got knocked out. Those stun darts are a problem. Might be a good time to throw out a summon. Now let's go big. There's the big scary guy. I don't know. God damn. Damn. It's hard to keep him going. Still, Consul Heart's here to make a big mess of things, being the scary guy that he is. At least I was able to get that out before I lost my protagonist. God damn.
Hey.
Did you just say immune to lightning? You better not be. That had to be something else, right? What happened to chain lightning? Eloth cast chain lightning. What happened to chain lightning? What did it go anywhere? Did it hit anybody? Unless I'm missing something, I straight up don't see a mention of chain lightning ever again. And I don't see it bouncing around between the enemies. I straight up don't know what happened. That's confusing. Oh, there goes Consulate. He's not quite keeping up with this either. There we go. A bit of crowd control helps. Are you just standing here? Come on now. Help me out here. Alright, things are improving a bit. You don't have a revive, do you? No. You're not one of the characters that got that. That's a bad mix. It's the Lagufits and their stuns crossed with the ice blights and their immunities. That's not a good mixture of things to deal with at the same time. But we got through it, again. This pale, rough stone doesn't resemble any other formation in the area. What is your definition of area? Because we've already encountered another one in this area that had the exact same description. There's just a certain irony of this doesn't look like anything else around here, being a thing you say several times. Just one of those things that makes you go, hang on a minute. Skulldrocks. What are those? Hey, it's those guys. It's like the werebats we saw like the beginning of the game. That became a lot less common over really quickly, I think. I bet you guys would like a bouncing effect that debilitates you all. That's always a fun one. There you go, that went around that time, I saw it. Yep, cast chain lightning. See, this time you can see it hitting people. 16 damage, 24 damage, 5, 7, 49, a final crit at the end. It must have just not happened somehow last time, even though it did. Because like the message happened of him casting it. It just didn't amount to anything apparently. Curious. I don't think they're going very well. Yep. Sure, I'm definitely seeing a lot of red numbers. Oh. Got a cool cave over here. The Skulldrak Cave. I assume. Judging by all the Skulldraks outside.
Sure.
Definitely resembles the kind of caves where the big dragon encounters tend to happen. So many bones. Whenever I see these areas, I always wonder, like, how could they even afford to lose that many people? Like, what a dirge there is when, like, this many human beings are all being consumed into one cave. All I got was a dagger. I think we might be revisiting this in a later story context. Don't think anyone can get to the middle of the lake. Should I make the trip all the way back? Yep. All the way back to Deerford. It's gonna take us over a day to get there, but we'll do it. Just for the sake of the satisfaction of it all. This is all framed as in the timing of like, oh god, we gotta go now or they're all gonna die. So like, it feels weird to put it off when like somebody's being hunted right now. But like I've said before, that's what like most of the story missions often feel like, is it's like there's always an immediacy to stuff that's hard to reconcile with the not so immediate design of the overall game. That was a bit curious. I think this is the mill that I've spent this whole game seeing and not having any real interaction with. I wonder if they added these characters during the expansion, or if they were always here waiting to become relevant when the expansion referred to them later. Oh shit. Put the blade down, boy. You scarcely know how to hold it. Hey, help me, please, they're insane. One of the paladins takes a step to the side, swiveling to face you and Eska both. He sizes you up with a lazy sweep of the eyes. Well, who's this? Ah, the foreigner. You have to wait your turn. We have a contract to wrap up. I saw some of your handiwork back in Whitestone Hollow. You hear Eska gasp. Kaveston glances at him, a quiet smile forming on his face. Nasty piece of business, that. But it's what the client wants. Eska here can tell you. Kithup and Stalwart loved their petty feuds. Forever at each other's throats. Add a little Durgan steel into the mix and you have a great many jealous neighbors. But if a nice family like this one ends up on a Pikes, what maybe they'll sit down and discuss things next time around. You used a drunk man as an excuse for bloodshed. You're pathetic. Seveston's smirk disappears. And who in the blazes are you, dwarf? I've been asked to save Eska, and you won't stop me. Alright, you have my attention. Kill him first. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Let's see about that. Oh, I've used up a lot of my spells. Alright, let's see you use this guy. 39 to 59 damage, corrode, terrified. I think this is going to do some damage. Good luck. Kill him first. I said the thing. His health even he's missing. Come on, try it again. And he missed. What is your hit chance with this weapon? 0%. Wow. Is he completely incapable of using this kind of weapon, or are they just really buffed right now? Oh, 39%. 52%. 6%. No, he's just especially unlikely to hit that particular enemy, I suppose. There also may have been a buff there for a bit. One more phrase and I get a dragon. Won't that be fun? Here it comes. Kill me first, he says. We'll see about that. Actually, he might kill me first. But hey, I just summoned a drake inside this house, so that's fun. And now I will die. Please soak up some health. Come on, life leech. Ooh, come on. Get it off. Get it off. No, not Zawa's duplicates. They're dying. Did he just never get off? Did he get interrupted or something? One miss, 2 hits. Doesn't seem to have done that much draining. Is it over time? I don't remember. Oh no, it's just Crucible Soul is shitty. Right. It's a spell from the beginning of the game. And I keep getting stronger, and its numbers just don't change. That's the bummer with certain abilities, is that they have a set value of how much damage they do, and so if they don't scale at all, then they just sit there forever. And 11, going from a 10 to 11.2 is not really scaling. It's only technically scaling. The worst kind of scaling. Just trying to get every effect out of him I can before he dies. I think there he goes. He gave it a go. Aloth misses out. Aloth, how the fuck did you miss yourself? Aloth misses Sebastian. His bow's not working out great. I assume that he just deflected your arrow back at you for a bit there, which is not great news for me, generally speaking. Not Zawa. Oh, this guy's a healer back here. Get him.
Come here.
They're putting up a fight. Wow, he outlasted the Drake. He's still here. This Mender needs to die. Badly. Shoot him in his stupid face. There you go. No, Zawa. We're down to just the last guy, though. There we go. Eska stares at the fallen paladins. The dagger trembles in his hand. They told me they killed my parents. Is that true? I'm sorry, Eska. I never believed Karen could stoop to this. That rotten bastard. Eska turns his head away, fists clenched. You hear a stifled sob. Karen sent me. He didn't intend for anyone to get killed. Who cares what he intended? That bat... I'm going to see to it that he regrets everything he's done. That's the spirit. Revenge is what started all of this. It's going to finish all of this too. Here. I'm grateful you saved me. I am. I just wish you turned up sooner. Well, I've got news for Karen, apparently. Ooh. No! Damn it, it wasn't registering my clicks. Shit. What item was that? I lost it in the cloud of items. Shit, I have no idea what it was. There's so many items. I don't know what I don't even remember what type of item it was. I think it might have been more gloves. It is not easy to manage this inventory at times. I think it was just those, right? Yeah, gloves of accuracy. Not as interesting as the 4 resolve siegebreaker gauntlets. Damn. Vietro's formal footwear, 3 lore, 4 dexterity. Damn. Who needs dex and resolve? Because I've got options. Executioner's hood. 20 endurance per kill, 5 melee accuracy for 5 seconds when missed by an attack. Whoa. Every kill heals you a bit. And every single time you get missed, you gain accuracy. A very particular buff.
Huh?
Well, we have a lot of news for the guy who sent us here. Hey, by the way, those people you sent us to save, yeah, they're dead. You got all of them killed. Also, their son's coming for revenge. So, peace out, maybe? Not sure what kind of approach you want to take here. I assume you don't want to also kill the son. That'd be a bummer. The nobody will help me is definitely a bit more desperate once he realized that he was sentencing a bunch of people to death and trying to walk that back. None of our media is really a very good advertisement for drinking. Really bad at convincing me it's ever a good idea. I never meant for any of this to happen. I found the Bleak walkers. You did? What happened? I dealt with the Bleak walkers. Hadi and Alwina were killed, but Eska's alive. Gods, Hadi. But Eska lives? Don't care about the wife, apparently. You saved him? Then for that I owe you everything. I can't ever make any of it right, but I'll try. Here, take this, and thank you for sparing me a final stain upon my soul. Gods forgive me. Wait, we're just ending it there?
Huh?
Yeah, he's planning on killing you, I think. Interesting. Interesting that there's no choice of like whether or not I would like to report that or not. Oh, he exclusively has 1 rest bonuses. That's kind of a bummer. The ones that last multiple nights are great. Then I get to stack them with my resting bonus that I have myself. Huh. A big multi-location quest that even features a dedicated location built for that quest. And like multiple buildings and a burning one and a faction and everything. I'm not really sure how this game defines a task versus a quest, is basically my takeaway.
Does anyone have any extra rations? I did some white leaf and now I'm very hungry.
I am unsurprised. Right. We still have... He still has, quests for me. Renan Guild. Let's speak with the local leadership. Both about the main problem and side problems. Your son's not here. If it isn't the hero of the White Forge. Renengild nods in greeting. She looks more relaxed than you've ever seen her. You come back to check on your handiwork? Or are you just here to wish me a happy retirement? Why did you retire? She stretches. I've had enough of politics and town quarrels for this lifetime. So when Tarfos told me he was tired of the mines, I asked him if he was ready to really get his hands dirty. She smiles. Almost feel sorry for the guy. Farewell. That's it? Huh. We're done with her, apparently. I kind of wonder if maybe she could have... When a character gets discarded in a game like this full of choices, I often then wonder if there was some specific choice that could have gotten rid of that character entirely. Because sometimes that's how they cut their losses on having to deal with all the different variables, is to dismiss said character. Like in a lot of choice-based games, you have characters that can die that get diminished in importance the moment you have the chance of them dying the first time. And they show up less and less in the story until maybe they even die later or something. But it's because the game's just gotta hedge their bets a little bit. It's part of the reason why every Mass Effect game adds new characters to the party. So that you have a party. Because everyone else could have died. And that's its own issue. Then you have stuff like Walking Dead that has that own particular approach to underutilizing characters once they had the chance of dying.
Got it done.
I suppose more specifically, it's not just that they add new characters in each Mass Effect, because that's just, you know, adding new party members in a RPG is pretty standard. But it's that specifically, the new characters, there's always like 2 really mandatory new characters. Just to add in. You start Mass Effect 1 by meeting 2 humans that join your party. Then you start Mass Effect 2 with 2 humans that join your party. But in both cases, 1 male, 1 female. Then in Mass Effect 3, you immediately meet 2 humans to join your party. Well, one's human-like. But male and female. They're very consistent. Hammond's Emporium. I better see a giant hamster in a metal ball. I don't know how I'd react to that, honestly.
Would I interest you in a new blade?
And there's Hammond. But isn't this the... This is the house that burned down, right? This looks like Stalwart from the road to Deerwood. You can see your own reflection in these shields. These identical Abaddon figurines are all of equally poor quality. Alright. Why not? The shopkeeper's clothes seem a little nicer, if not terribly warm, compared to what you've seen around Stalwart. His hair is immaculately coiffed, and his rosy cheeks look like they've barely been touched by the mountain winds. Welcome, welcome. I've got arms and armor, all top quality. Or perhaps you'd like to see potions. Always a pleasure to meet some respectable company out here, anyway. Show me what you have for sale. I think that's it for now. Twin Sting. Whoa, it's one of these. Rogue Ranger Cipher. Another one of these unlock skills over time abilities. Unexpected to see one of those this late in the process. I think the people who would use those are kind of called for at this point, though. The colored coat. Wicked Briars the moment you drop below 51% health. Fierce damage on enemies. Tons of generics. That's nice. 3 spell uses for spellcasters. Stag Helm. Ring of Celonan. Ooh. 2 first level spells and 2 third level spells. These don't hurt to grab. Arguus Audra's Helm. 3 resolve on a helm. These are decent items. He carries many scars helm. Is this like a set or something? Because I have the armor. Oh yeah, Sanguine Plate's helm. Huh. So these are helms that match armor sets we've seen before. I guess Sanguine set must have also been from this expansion. I don't really remember anymore. I might have got it the first time we were in this area. Yeah. I think I learned about Frenzy via Maneha first, and then got the armor that gave it to my protagonist too. So that means I've worn it for like half the playthrough at this point. You have Audra. But do you have Audra Dragon Scales? Because that's the big rare one. I feel like I might have locked myself out of some of those upgrades. Oops. By not killing the dragon. Awakened Audra. Still not the same thing. Nope. Not seeing it around. That's gonna be 20,000 for me. Still, we're always doing great on money, so I'm not too concerned. Fine dagger. Get out of my inventory. All this garbage get in your inventory. Get in the bed. I'm not even sure how some of these got here. I'll do inventory cleanup between episodes, because I still have a lot to do there. Get out of here. You have no reason to be in my inventory. What's your ring? Oh, you have another. You actually have another one of these. That's funny. Yeah, could probably just stack these, right? Yes. 646. 646. Four, four, four. 646. Okay, so it just doesn't stack. Whoops. Bit of a waste. That's gonna go under a my bad. Anyway, let's settle down for a little bit of reading. The Deerwood, Part 2, The Broken Stone War. In 2626 AI, a group of farmers, while clearing farmland for planting, accidentally knocked down one of the ancient Audra menhirs of their land. This innocent act drew the ire of the native population, and started what would come to be known as the Broken Stone War. When it was finally over, several thousand colonists have been killed, as well as hundreds of Glenfathans. Even though the war was technically over, the Glenfathans escalated their attacks on the settlers over the next 2 years, using vicious tactics that left many colonists, several military figures, an earl, and 6 thanes dead. Unable to stop the Glenfathan attacks, the earl elected Earl Adrang Hadret to poison the Gref. Well respected and known to be a master of military tactics, he was tasked with dealing with the Glenfathan threat. Adrang fought with the Glenfathans, led by an Orlan named Regd, for the next 2 years. Neither side can gain the upper hand on the other, resulting in a tense stalemate between the two groups. Because of the stalemate, the hostilities slowly died off, and in 2631, the Deerwooden people signed a treaty with the Glenfathans. Regd would step down. The Glenfathans would stop their attacks altogether. The Deerwooden people would leave their ruins alone. This treaty angered the nobility of Adir, as it brought to a halt the supply of artifacts. Edrang also tried to get the practice of slavery outlawed, but this was not successful. Because of this, the peace between the Dyrwood and Airglanfath is uneasy and tumultuous. Small patches of rural violence still crop up, but were easily dealt with, as neither side wanted another war. The Dyrwood, Part 3, the one I never found, even to this day. The War of Black Trees and the Rise of Admeth Hadrat. After the Broken Stone War, the Dyrwood would see peace and prosperity for 21 years. Aside from the occasional slave uprising or border dispute, nothing of any note happened until 2652 AI. Some of the Dyrwood Earls, tired of being restricted by the treaties and encouraged by imperial sources, defied the decrees and actively sent people to loot the ruins of the Dyrwood. Response to the Glenfathans was not immediate, and when it came, it was brutal and bloody. There was a slave uprising, and Regd resumed control of his guerrilla fighters. A contingent of Delamgan joined the forces as well, making the fights in the forest even more deadly for the Dyrwood soldiers. Edrang, then far too old to lead Dyrwood in the war, sent his son Admeth to deal with the situation. Admeth, showing the same tactical prowess as his father, set fire to the forest at the Is-Uar River, and then blocks the forces retreating from the inferno. Some of the Glenfathans escape, but thousands would die in the blaze. Regd is captured and sent to holding in New Hoyomar. I don't know if this is a typo of the transcription of the website or the book. This goes on for several months, and Admeth uses the same tactic many times to flush Glenfathans and Delamgan from the battlefield. The entire war lasts less than a year. The Dyrwood eventually wins, but at a terrible price. This conflict would come to be known as the War of Black Trees. The tragedy struck the Dyrwood in 2654 when Adrang, whose health had been waning, succumbed and passed into the cycle. Regd, who had developed a begrudging respect for his constant adversary over the years they had fought, sent Admeth his sincere condolences from captivity in New Haelmar. Admeth assumed his father's place as Gref over the Dyrwood. The other earls disliked this development and began publicly rebuking Admeth's decrees. In 2655 AI, Admeth tired of the problems caused by the recalcitrant earls, but having support of the new Valian dukes and the common folk of Dyrwood, having saved them from the Glenfathans, delivers an ultimatum to the fair Konik of Adir. He demands to be made a Gref of Palatine. A Gref Palatine. Another title. I think I understood this at some point, but there's a lot of them. Dukes and Gref Palatines and fair Koniks. This move would give him authority and power over all the earls, their holdings, and their titles. Dyrwood would become a Palatinate instead of a Grefram. The Fairkonig, who did not want to have to deal with a rebellion while trying to establish hold of the Vorless trade network in Redsurus, begrudgingly agreed to Admeth's demands. Admeth would use his new power to bring all the earls in line. As a trade-off for being given power, Admeth put money and resources into all the Dyrwood's ports to increase shipping traffic. In turn, this increased the Fairkonig's income. Under Admeth's rule, the Dyrwood saw 7 productive and profitable years. In 2662 AI, he did what had been tried for many years without success, bringing slavery to an end in the Dyrwood. He negotiated the 10 Years Treaties, so called because it has been 10 years since the War of Black Trees. A timeline was established in which the slaves will be released. The owners would be compensated with money or land for each slave released. If they did not comply, the slaves would be taken, and a fine would be levied against their owner. In return, the Glenfathans would open trade with the Dyrwood and cede some of their territories to the Dyrwoodan government. In practice, meaning they would stop contesting the presence of those who lived and ruled there. Hundreds of Coopers attempted to rebel against this. Admeth, expecting such a reaction, reacted accordingly, and the rebellion was quickly crushed. His agent then spread propaganda through the populace, making the Coopers' rebellion and its instigators seem far worse than they truly were. This tactic worked, and there would be no trouble. It's actually kind of remarkable how much every part of this is reminiscent of American history. Huh. Because civilizations in fantasy stories are constantly based on this or that. Like, this one's based on Rome, and this one's based on, like, Athens, or whatever the hell. Like, they'll pick some particular thing for each story as a basis. And this really specifically seems to be based on American history, like, note for note. All the way down to the slavery and the Civil War.